What's up with it? Thanks to Sports for America for putting me on. Uh, it's the Die Hard Fan Show with yours truly, Cornelius Cole. Man, just jumping right in as always. NBA play-ins. You can see it playing in the background. The Bulls and the Raptors right now. But last night, man, Minnesota. They took that fade last night. Minnesota had the Lakers up against the ropes and couldn't deliver the knockout blow. Um, Different things took place in that game that I saw. Both teams struggled down the stretch. Minnesota, uh, lots of turnovers down the stretch that were costly, and Minnesota had plenty of chances to put the Lakers away, and they just couldn't do it. It just set up the stage, for a King James moment. I always root against this guy, and I'm always going to root. As long as you pay attention to me, I'm going to root against this guy. But the guy is good at what he does, and for me, he made the play of the game. The play of the game to me wasn't the shot that was made by Schroeder to give them the lead, nor was it him and AD taking over in OT. For me, it was late in the third quarter when LeBron decided to get that drive to the bucket, and Carl Anthony Towns, challenged Carl Anthony Towns, and Carl Anthony Towns picked up his fourth foul. That right there was the monumental play of the game because Carl Anthony Towns was cooking. Cat was cooking in that game, and they couldn't do anything with him. He was hot. He was on fire. That seemed to take them out of rhythm. Anthony Edwards never showed up. Where was Anthony Edwards? That's the thing about Minnesota sports teams. Sometimes, like the big name players don't show up when they're supposed to. Everybody have a bad shooting game, but I thought that Anthony Edwards could have done more, especially when it came down to needing the game tying bucket where he kicked it over in the corner and Prince missed three. That was a good play. A good steal by Conley was wasted. In my eyes, the best decision. Conley was hot. You got to get Conley instead of going left with the rock. You got to go right with the rock and give it to Conley. Maybe Conley makes it. Maybe he misses it also. All I know is Conley had the hot hand. So that's why I think, when they were walking off the court during the timeout and they were talking a minute, I think that's what Conley was saying. Like, man, I was hot. You should have gave me the rock. But, Conley made the good steal, passed the ball, and you like, oh, Edwards could have pulled up for the shot himself, but instead he passed it to Prince, and then Prince blew it, man. Prince blew it. He missed the shot. Uh, give I give credit where credit is due. Good credit to the Lakers for hanging in there. They could have been blown off the floor. Like I said, they were getting blown. You picked that five. Well, I think that both teams. You can't say that neither team wanted it. That's why it went into overtime. Both teams was playing, but the momentum swing. To me, that's where it all swung. Man, that foul, like Karl Anthony Towns picking up that fourth foul. So good veteran play by LeBron, realizing that they couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop Cat, so get him in foul trouble, get him out of the game. That was a good move, and AD going to work, being able to do his thing, hitting key buckets when he had to. Uh, you know, uh, Being super aggressive, ultra aggressive coming down the stretch. Those things played into the Lakers' favor. I hate to see, but like Grillen is just talking right now. Why is he running his mouth? Like, what does he have to say about what's popping with with the game? Like, man, play the game. Like, I get it. He a part of the team. He's supposed to say his team gonna win and all that kind of stuff. But I'd rather hear from, the true leader of the team, John Morant. What Ja got to say about this upcoming series. The King versus the Grizzlies. We're gonna see how that all pans out in the long run. But before I get into all that, other game I want to talk about. But first, Nerd Focus Energy Drink. Get your brain right, your game tight with Nerd Focus. You need some to help get a brain a boost. Check out Nerd Focus. Now, thinking about games and teams wanting it more, the Hawks. Maybe I got a new respect for the Hawks. after what they did, taking control and beating disappointment. I need to win that game. I thought Miami was going to like win it. I didn't think that the Hawks had what I saw in them, but to be out rebounded by that margin, not only that, but to be out hustled, outplayed, all the block shots. Like how many times in a row did Jimmy Buckets get his shot blocked? Um, you know, not only that, but Kyle Lowry came. Kyle Lowry showed up. He played. But I was impressed with the Hawks. I can't lie. I was impressed with what I saw from the Hawks. First time I seen a team all season actually lock in defensively. They was locked in defensively. Um, Really took Miami out of the game, but then Miami was missing a lot of layups, like right at the rim. But that was because of that presence. Like and out Capella, Capella from his Rockets days, I know the boy had hustle, but man, the man put on a show. Like as far as rebounding, he only had 4 points, but he had 21 rebounds, and who knows how many block shots. But all the shots that he altered, like going down there, wasn't an easy feat. Him and Hunter, those guys really stepped up on the defensive end. Was what I was seeing. I was really impressed with the Hawks. Like Quinn Snyder, seeing like I didn't think that was going to be a good move. The Hawks, I know both of these teams hanging on under the old system, they both would have been in the playoffs. Let's just face it. But with the play in, they did anything to get in the play in. But I'm looking at, man, the Hawks. Who knows if they play like they played last night against the Heat? I'm not gonna say they can beat the Celtics, but they can make the series interesting if they play with that type of that level of intensity, that level of pressure that they put on. But Miami, don't have the stars that the Celtics have, or I don't know. All I know is the Hawks impressed me, and it was something that Dejounte Murray said. Dejounte Murray said after the game when he was asked about comparing Nate McMillan to Quinn Snyder, and he tried not to compare, but he did compare. When he let that little thing drop about, now they got a coach in Snyder who cares about the whole team and not just specific players. I think he said enough right there. Like so everybody's seeing like they locked in for the Hawks. Remember the Hawks, a couple of years ago they was in the Eastern Conference Finals, so you don't know what they're gonna do. I've been on them all year saying that they ain't lived up to the potential. They win a game, lose a game. They've been up and down, but now maybe they give the Celtics, maybe they give Celtics a run, maybe they take it 6 or 7. You never know. I don't see them winning a series against the Celtics. I think the Celtics are just ready to try to make that step to win it all. I don't see the Hawks as that kind of team, but I do see them bringing something that you never know. Yeah, if they got these comedy, the Hawks, not a Heat. I've been riding the Heat in there most of the season. Spoelstra is too good of a head coach to see what I see with the Heat. Like where would when every time it seemed like Miami was gonna get back in it, the Hawks had an answer, and the Hawks kept closing the door on them. But what I was tripping off of mostly was uh, I ain't see no real fire from the Heat. I ain't see no fire from like nobody on the Heat. Bam is a disappointment to me. It's not the first time I've seen this guy in big games where I think he got more talent from an offensive perspective than Capella and all that. But to be outworked and outplayed by Capella, I mean, just big time. I mean, Bam got his points. He scored some points here and there, but he was really outworked and outplayed. The whole Heat squad was outplayed. Kyle Lowry brought his game, and for me, it's never a good sign with Kyle Lowry. No knock against Kyle Lowry, but when Kyle Lowry is your leading scorer, you're probably not going to win too many games if you're the Miami Heat right now. You got to have that balance. I mean, like it's more than just they made stops at certain points, and you thought, oh, they're gonna turn the corner, they're gonna get back in the game, and they need to say, that's enough. Then they go back to jacking up. Shot selection in both of the games I saw last night. Some of the shot selection, it was just awful, ridiculous shot selections. I didn't understand. Like in both games, I didn't understand Minnesota's shot selection at times. Clearly, there was some advantages there. Karl Anthony Towns had mismatches at certain points late in the game that They just didn't capitalize on the mismatches, man. It was like, whoa, he got a small dude on him, but then he ain't even trying to get the ball. It's like, yo, how you let Schroeder run you out the paint? How you let Schroeder not let you post up? Like I didn't understand I didn't understand what they were doing late in the game, and then it's like searching. And Kyle Anderson refused to shoot the darn ball. Like, how many times did you see that guy get the ball open on the wing and then dribble into the defense and then pass it to Anthony Edwards all late? I was tired of seeing that. Same thing with the Heat, but the Heat were just jacking, like they were taking bad shots, like just awful shots. What I saw from Minnesota was the guys, they couldn't make certain shots. Like Anthony Edwards couldn't make shots, so he waited too late to decide to go to the bucket. Like if he had done that maybe mid third quarter, early fourth quarter, then that might have made a difference. But it was like, yo, he was going jack and jack until now it's too late. Now I want to go to the bucket. I mean, like, but that all come with time and they come with that experience. Definitely you saw the experience of the Lakers in the one game. And definitely you saw like not two teams where where it should have been even. But what I saw was the growth of Trey Young. I really like. He wasn't on the ball all heavy. He wasn't taking as many bad shots as he normally takes and stuff like that. So he came with it. I ride him tough with the bad shots, with the poor shot selection. But what I liked about the Hawks is they brought the intensity. Now you start to look at the Lakers and the Grizzlies. That's going to be a good matchup. And now tonight you'll see the winner of the Pelicans and you'll see the winner of the Pelicans. My mind just went blank real quick. You know, but I like the Pelicans. Looking to see, I think OKC is all right. I like OKC, but I just think what's his name? I just think that Brandon Ingram and McCollum are going to be a little bit too much for Alexander by himself. Gilgis Alexander by himself. I think he's like this dude had the most 30-point games in the season or whatever. I know he's gonna get his numbers, but I just think as a team the Pelicans have a little bit more. But you never know though. OKC, they've been counted out before and they still riding. They still doing their thing. But what I'm looking at is people saying can the Lakers win it all? Phoenix gonna win it all and all this. Really and truly, what I'm looking at, I'm excited for the weeks, the matches that I'm as what are you talking about, band? I don't know what you're talking about, Jimmy. Um, but I think those guys are really on their game. I don't know what I mean. Um, I think they're on their game though. Um, as far as the Clippers, I think they're gonna be a good show. They're gonna put on the show for the players. I think the the Suns, they're gonna have to come with it. You never know. I'm gonna ride to the end with my Clippers pick. I guess I really have no choice. Once I picked them, I picked them, so I'm gonna stick with them to come out of the West. I mean, I know it's gonna be hard without Paul George, but at the same time, I still think they should have enough to be able to compete. Defense, if they come to play defense and make it tough, you can't stop Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can shoot. Kevin Durant can shoot, but that's all you're looking at. And everybody always talk this noise about how to play Kevin Durant or whatever. Look, a dude like that, 7 foot, can shoot, but his best shot is the mid-range shot. So why would I give him unless you're gonna play the San Antonio style defense? Years ago San Antonio would give what's his name, Amari Stoudemire, let him make all the baskets that he wants and then shut everybody else down. Unless you're gonna play that style, then if I'm you, I keep him out. I keep Kevin Durant at the 3-point line and let him jack from there. That's the worst shot that he has. I mean, even though he dropped 40% this year, that's his best percentage for a career. He's shooting by 35, 36 35 to 37% from out there. So make him shoot threes. I let him shoot threes all game, other than let him get to his comfort spots. You got to get him off his spots. But he's streaky from the three, but he ain't the greatest 3-point shooter out there. Let's just be realistic. So the 3-point shot is his worst shot. I would give him that. I'll give him that. Like I said before, I think you can shut Booker down. I'm not huge on Booker. I'm not huge on Booker. I think you could shut Booker down. CP3, he could be a wild card, but I don't think CP3 at some point. I'm gonna be realistic. You just look for him to be injured at some point. If Kawhi doesn't get injured first, like it's a race in that department for me. As far as hopefully they both stay healthy and you get to see a show from both teams, but it's gonna be interesting to see because the Minnesota Timberwolves, they still got a chance. They gonna play the winner of the game tonight. And like I said, I'm looking for the Pelicans to win that game tonight. Don't know who can win. It'll be a toss up to me between the Pelicans and the T Wolves. I'm leaning towards the T Wolves just because I think maybe they learned something. For a while last night, I actually thought, the T Wolves. Well, I went for the T Wolves. I thought they was gonna win that game, but I actually thought for a while that the Lakers was playing this like cat and mouse game with the T Wolves and was gonna let the T Wolves. I actually thought the Lakers was gonna let the T Wolves win because I was like, oh, then they go and they play and they get the 8 seed and then they find it. They can because I think the Lakers better match up versus the Nuggets than they would against the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies gonna win that series. I think the Grizzlies gonna beat them. I'm not gonna say they're gonna beat them handedly, but I think it's over. I say it's gonna be a wrap in 6 games because what I saw last night was they still can't shoot. I mean, they got a better team right now, but they can't shoot. The Lakers can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't see the Lakers in 6 trade. I don't see the Lakers. I don't see the Lakers 6. I see the Grizzlies in 6. And the reason why is because the Grizzlies can shoot. Bane can shoot. Ja Morant can put the ball in the bucket. If LeBron wasn't hitting threes last night, then the Lakers would have been in real trouble. Like they cannot shoot. Like Reeves wasn't Reeves like he normally, like he's been throughout. I think the pressure gonna get to the Lakers role players more so than it's gonna get to the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies gonna win that series. And because like I said, the shooting was horrible. Up all the way, those dudes shot bricks all the way into the 4th quarter. Then they hit some meaningful buckets here and there. I like what Schroeder did as far as going to the bucket, as far as putting the pressure on. But the team was see the Lakers because LeBron's turning the ball over left and right, and to throw the ball away on the inbound pass, to let Conley steal that pass and nearly take it, nearly tie the game up again. I mean, that was kind of rough, but he threw the ball away a couple of times. I think the best pass that he threw was when he threw it underneath the basket to Anthony Davis because he realized that Karl Anthony Towns had 5 fouls. And so Karl Anthony Towns can't go up there, can't really body up. He can't really do too much unless he wants to foul out of the game. I mean, some smart moves, I think, but I was surprised at Russell. I was surprised Russell didn't show up. That's what I was saying. Like none of those guys, Russell, Beasley, Vanderbilt, none of those guys really brought the A game, so to speak. So we'll see what happened in that series. Because you're gonna need because remember you gotta win 4 games against the Grizzlies. And I don't think they're gonna win 4 games. Those guys can't shoot consistently. Like they can't shoot. I mean, it's proven, especially in half court sets. How many wide open shots have those guys missed? Like combined. So don't get me wrong. If you keep the game close, AD gonna win you some games. AD, we know AD and LeBron. That's why I say they're gonna win 2 games. But AD and LeBron gonna win you 2 games, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. If the other players on the team don't perform, then they're gonna be sitting at home. So I see AD And I told y'all, I've been telling y'all all season long that if AD is healthy, he is one of the best players in the game. I just think he's gonna outplay. It doesn't even matter. Um, like I think he could have outplayed Carl Anthony Towns last night. You know, Carl Anthony Towns was cooking for a while, and then like I said, LeBron made the smart veteran play to pick up that foul. To me that was the play of the game, and and that changed the whole game when Carl Anthony Towns picked up his fourth foul. I mean, smart play on LeBron's part. Hey, we can't stop him. Got to get him out the game. That was smart. Um, so that kind of veteran play right there, that might get a cocky team like Memphis off their game a little bit, but I still think they're gonna win. Now, moving on from the Grizzlies, that 3-6 matchup, that Kings Warriors, everybody expecting this upset. The Warriors do have a good chance to win. I said this last week, and I'm gonna say it again. The Warriors, even though they haven't performed well on the road all year long, this is the part where they the most dangerous because this is what they've been waiting on to get into the playoffs. And I don't really care who suits up for them as long as Clay and Steph are on the court. We'll see some stuff from them. We'll see some good ball from them. But what we won't see is the Kings fold. We're gonna see a tough. I think Mike Brown gonna have the Kings ready. I think the Kings are young. They don't know no better, so they'll give it all they got. But I think the Warriors. I think the Warriors can win that series. Remember, if they can win at home, if they sweep at home, they win three at home. All they got to do is win one on the road. But I think they're gonna perform better on the road in the playoffs because they know what's at stake. The Warriors remind me of some of the teams of old, like some of those old Phil Jackson teams where they just, they got to build all this struggle. When Phil was with the Lakers and when he was with the Bulls, they got to build all this struggle here and there and all this infighting and all this other stuff that has to go on throughout the season just so they can come together and do what they do and make a championship run in the end. I think the Warriors are going to beat the Kings, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as everybody expected to be. I think the Kings going to give them a fight. I see it 7. I see that series going 7, but I see in a game 7 where the experience of the Warriors will just be a little bit too much. It'll be a little bit too much for them for Sacramento to hold off. But hats off to Mike Brown, definitely coach of the year. If he ain't coach of the year, then I don't know who is. We could talk MVPs. They might as well go ahead and just give the trophy to Joel Embiid already and be done with the MVP talk. I think Jokic taking games off and stuff like that. I think Embiid earned the trophy. Don't get me wrong. I think he earned it, but that's all he gonna get because we already know how that goes. When is the last time the MVP of the league won a championship? You know, which the look of this game tonight gets to take on the Heat. The Heat get another chance, but who knows who they're gonna play with this game that's going on right now. I really like the Raptors' chances, and if it's the Raptors and the Heat, then I'm going towards the Raptors. If the Bulls happen to beat the Raptors, then I'm taking the Heat in that one. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I could just because for me, it's the understanding that at some point, Spoelstra got to be heard. He got to do something with that squad. You might have to just go to a 6-man rotation just to get the players that you need to play right now. Because playing 8-9 man rotation is just not working. So you might have to cut it down to like 6, 7. Rotate less and let the players go out there and decide the game. I know nowadays it's all about getting guys rest here and there, but at some point, man, you're gonna have to go with your horses in order to try to win a game. I think smart enough to know what he has to do, but it's all about the players too. The players gotta want it. Like the Hawks wanted it last night. Like the Heat gotta prove that they want it, but I don't think the Heat could. The reason why I say if there's the Raptors because I like Van Vliet. I like Ananobi. I can't really pronounce his name, but I like him. I like the squad that they have. I like the talent. I like Sayakam, and I think Nick Nurse. Even though he's saying he might be done with the Raptors after this season, he might want to take a break, or he might be done with the Raptors. I think Nick Nurse is a coach. And how about a coach that's been there 5 seasons? Is that a success story of what been with a team 5 seasons? He already has one championship. Like some of these coaches ain't even getting 3 years to put their mark on teams, which is much different. Which it leads me into want to talk about some of these coaches right now that I look at. So Silas is gone. Steve Silas, whatever his name is, gone from the Rockets. Good riddance. I'm gonna say good riddance because I would never sign up for a job like that where they hire you just to tank games, man. Like, why would you even like? Do coaches not care about their legacy anymore? Is it just more important to put your name as I've coached than to be like I'm a winning coach? I mean, those are the things that's killing me right now. Is the coaches like I can't believe you would sign up for a job to tank, you know, I wouldn't sign up for it. I mean, that's just my stance on the whole tanking thing. I mean, I get it. Popovich, he got the whole pedigree of being a championship coach of 20 plus years in the playoffs, and now they rebuilding, so they doing what they got. I don't want to hear none of that. Like, why would you sign up for something like that? So I'm not surprised that Silas is out, and now that they're gonna try to, now that they're in the Wemby sweepstakes, they gonna try to, get the best pick that they can in the draft or whatever in the lottery, and then they're gonna proceed forward with another coach. I'm already seeing rumors that they talking about Nick Nurse. It's like, what are you talking about, Rockets? It's like, uh, but I feel bad for a coach like Silas, man. You try to get that shot, and you get that shot, and then that's what they expect you to do. They want you to tank. Tough conversation. And speaking of tanking, I already said it last week that I was disappointed in the Dallas Mavericks. I don't like everybody up in arms about how they ended their season. They did what was best for them. They weren't going to go anywhere in the playoffs anyway. Let's just be real. They would have got it to the play. They wouldn't have even got it to the play in because OKC did what they had to do to hold them off. The tiebreaker would have went to OKC, but at the same time, I'm disappointed in Dallas. They never should have been in the play in anyway. They should have been top 1 through 5 or 1 through 6. They made things. You can't lose a whole squad and then expect to win. Your team was in the Western Conference Finals. You can't lose all that firepower and then expect to come back and win everybody that was meaningful on that run. Other than Luca, you got rid of all the other pieces. I feel bad for Jason Kidd. I think he's a better coach than that. Than the way the season ended. That's why Kidd's fight against it. Now that's another thing. When how long is Kidd gonna be in Dallas with him? Butting heads with the front office saying that I agree with what we player said the same thing. Move, as the organization. And so now I do believe Steph Curry when Steph Curry says that it's the organizations with some of the load management, it's not the players. Sometimes it's the organizations. We saw that first and what Dallas pool. Now, but in all fairness, to wrap it up again, I'm taking the Pelicans. I'm taking the Pelicans in the game tonight, and I'm also in this game right here. I'm taking the Raptors, of course. But as you can see, the Raptors they crushing them right now. But the game is an up and down game. But it doesn't matter to me in the East. It doesn't matter who gets in the eighth seed anyway. Whether it's Miami, whether it's Toronto, uh, doesn't matter who gets that seed, or if it's the Bulls. They looking for a beat down anyway. Uh, I think they'll get swept. I think any one of those teams, if you don't come in to play hard, you're gonna get swept by the Bucks anyway. I don't think the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are playing with any teams this year. I think the difference between the Bucks, Celtics, and the 76ers, the top three teams in the East. For me, the biggest difference is not just Giannis. It's what Drew Holiday is doing this year. It's what everybody else Bucks is doing this year. Like that's just my opinion. I just think the Bucks as a team collectively or just go say, nah, we ain't taking none of that. We trying to do the thing, and you know what Giannis brings with the type of play that Giannis has. I don't even think, for me, it's not gonna be Giannis on the offensive end. This year, it's gonna be what he does on the defensive end, how he locks in on the defensive end, and how him and Brook Lopez as a tandem block shots, redirect shots, and even push players out on the perimeter and keep it at a perimeter game. Now, some games you're gonna get hot, like teams get hot from the three, and then you can pull away like that. So, but I don't really expect the Bucks to struggle in the first round. I really don't expect the Bucks to struggle much throughout. I'm picking the Bucks to win the East, of course, but I'm looking at, if they do run into some problems, it'll probably be in the Eastern Conference Finals if they end up playing either if they play the 76ers, they're gonna beat them easily. Like hands down, they're gonna run through them real quick. But if they get the Celtics, then that might be a struggle. But you never know what's gonna happen. When it comes to that, that's if the Celtics are locked in. That's if the Celtics, are what they've been most of the season if they lock in. So, I look at it, but it's gonna be interesting to see some of the matchups. It's gonna be interesting to see some of the play. Like, don't want to get too far ahead, like in the second rounds and stuff like that. But looking ahead. But if I did look ahead, I would say, like I said, the Lakers not going to get past the Grizzlies. So you looking at the Grizzlies and maybe the Warriors in the second round, a replay of last year's semifinals. You're looking at that same little matchup right there. And that's going to be a good matchup. That'll be a good matchup to see. I see the Clippers upsetting the Suns and putting an end to all the Suns talks of making a championship run and all this stuff. Uh, you know, um, but at the same time, so you look at the Clippers probably end up playing the Nuggets in the second round, and you know how that's going to go. The Nuggets, I think they got a better chance of the matchup for me for the Nuggets would be them against the Clippers. They beat the Clippers in the past, but I don't think this year you're gonna beat the Clippers. I think Kawhi gonna lock in. I think he gonna come improve. For me, it's all about Kawhi. If he can play, he gonna take them far. I think Teron Lou can figure out the matchups from there and figure out how to move people around and get them in the right position to win. But the second round, I mean, just looking at some of the second round matchups, like the second round matchups, it looked like it's gonna be. You look at in the East, that Celtics. You might see the Celtics and and 76ers. However, I'm not. James Harden. James Harden is playoff ever, so Uh, 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 like I said, Clippers, man. Our Warriors, maybe, but I don't see the Lakers. And then Jalen Brown. Here's my thing with the whole Jalen Brown thing. We know what he gonna bring. We know that if he gonna come to play, he gonna come to play. What I see for the Celtics, the roadblock I see for the Celtics is them running into Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? I just see them running into Milwaukee, and then that's the end of them. Because I see Drew Holiday can lock in on both ends of the court, but I think on the defensive end, he get up in whoever's grill is gonna change things. Giannis with the defense. I think Milwaukee's when it's time to lock down on the defensive end, they're gonna lock in, and it's gonna go like I said with a rim protector like Lopez. Lopez been doing his thing this year. Shooting the three and blocking shots. So I look for that to be big time for Milwaukee. But I don't really see Jalen Brown. Brown was supposed to be this guy last year, and then Middleton. See, that's why I'm not worried about Middleton this year. I think the Bucks have enough to beat any team without Middleton this year. I think they've proven that through most of the season, the bulk of the season, that they've been able to win without Middleton. They've been able to keep winning without Giannis. And you say, oh, it's just the regular season and all this stuff, but they've been able to win games. So I don't think he's gonna be as huge of a factor as he was last year. They needed him last year. This year, I think the Bucks figured out a way to win without. I think they figured it out. Um, that's what I'm saying. Like the depth uh, of and I think it's series gonna be important. I think you get certain people get in foul trouble, like LeBron or AD gets in foul trouble for the Lakers, it's pretty much over for them in any set of game. Same thing with the Klay Thompson and the Steph Curry. If they get into foul trouble, it's over. But I think the Clippers have enough depth that they don't have to worry about that. No, I don't think they have to worry about foul trouble like some of these other teams. So for me, Phoenix don't have enough. Like if Kevin Durant can't go, or he gets in foul trouble, or Booker gets in foul trouble, they in trouble. Uh, Especially if DeAndre Ayton gets in foul trouble, then they in trouble. Like not like these other teams. Denver got a pretty deep team, so Denver might be able to run. The Grizzlies, they are right. They missing some. They got two people down, but other than that, like they bench players pretty good here and there. But what I'm looking at is the teams that are deep are probably going to hold out. They probably gonna hold out this year. So and it's also, I hate to say it, but some games we already know what's gonna come down to officiating, refereeing. Sometimes the referees, at the wrong time, they blow that whistle at the right time. Like I hate to say it, but it's the NBA, and you know how that goes sometimes. Like I was impressed last night that in neither game the refs gave one or the other team advantages. It was pretty much even in terms of free throws and stuff like that. If they keep that up, then they will see some good basketball. But we know how the refs can change a game in a heartbeat, make it seem like one team is more aggressive than another team. Sometimes that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes one team, like the Hawks, were way more aggressive than the Heat last night. But sometimes it's not that way. It's just the referees can make it appear that way, that a team, I'm not going to say home court or nothing like that, but sometimes they do show some favoritism here or there. We know the referees do that. Sometimes star players get calls, but it shouldn't be a call, stuff like that. Like, speaking of that, it was a whole dispute. I saw the disputes, whether AD fouled Conley or whether he didn't foul him. Well, he didn't let the man land. He crowded the man's space. That's the definition of a foul in the league. So, yeah, he fouled him. And Conley got lucky to hit those 3 free throws. It didn't matter at all because the Lakers ended up winning the game. But it was a foul by the technical terms. He did crowd his space. He didn't let him land. So it is what it is. But I hope the referees don't become a factor and take away from some good basketball. We finally get to the point of the year where we're going to see some good basketball, and it might be some great ball. Oh, you could say he boxed him out, but I say that like he didn't let the man firmly. He crowded the man's space. And, anytime you on a jump shot, that's just the way. But that's just the way that they do now. Like like when you look at the play, Trey, Conley wasn't on the floor exactly what was Conley gonna do? What was Conley gonna do? Land on AD? A risk injury or whatever. So they gotta protect the players. So and then it made it interesting. Hey, the ref blew the whistle. It could have went either way in my mind, but at the same time, it was a foul by technical terms when you really look at it and break it down. Maybe because they show it in slow mo a gazillion times and you see it so much, and then you say, "Oh yeah, it was a foul." But like I said, it's a moot point now. But I'm hoping that they let him play. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, he threw it up. That was coming. He had no choice but to throw it up. You know, he had no choice but to throw it up. Time was running down. But I want to see some. I want to see more good games, and hopefully this game gets good. Third quarter, 68-50 or whatever. And how big has it been that DeRozan and Levine, they just haven't worked out. Nothing that the Bulls have done. Uh, the Bulls haven't really had good squads here and there in a long time. Like what last I remember, Derrick Rose, when Derrick Rose was MVP or something. They haven't really had many stretches where they've been real good. But the way the roster was constructed, you thought that they would play better ball than they have. I'm disappointed in DeMar DeRozan also. Like what people don't talk about a lot is when it comes to these players, we all talk about their game. We want to talk about leadership. These guys bring absolutely nothing, evidently, to the leadership perspectives of the teams because I see no leadership. I saw the same thing with the Heat last night. No leadership. Um, you know, it's, the head coach can't do it all. You got to have some players. Whereas you see like some of these other teams, you know that there's clear leaders, you know that there's clear things. And while I'm mentioning different things, the Rudy Gobert situation, since I was on last Wednesday, and I do my shows on Wednesday, Rudy Gobert, man, come on, man. Is that not the weakest way to get suspended? You ain't even Draymond Green, the dude. At least Draymond got his money's worth, man. You punched the dude in the shoulder, the chest, or whatever. Like, come on, Rudy. As long as your arm is, man, if you really wanted to make solid contact, you could have done better than that. I know the dude called you out your name or whatever, but getting suspended, fighting your own teammate in front of the fans, that's kind of hilarious. And then this other dude, McDaniels, breaking his hand up against the wall. I ain't got no mercy for the Minnesota Timberwolves as far as, the things that they've been pulling, man. But come on, Rudy Gobert, that's what I'm saying. Leadership. As old as this guy is, he brought in for his leadership and all this other stuff. Been done that guy. You know, been there and done that guy, but he's not a been there and done that guy. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, come on, Rudy. Like the coach said the maturity level. He cited that maturity level. For me, it's not even about maturity level. It's just about smarts and common sense. I actually think the T Wolves are better without Rudy Gobert than with Rudy Gobert. But at the same time, maybe it might change the outcome or something. But I don't know. I just look at it like, come on, man. And then the Clippers, they had their own little thing where they get into a little, like it's a little pushing match on the sideline. I mean, it is what it is as far. But why are you going at your teammates? Like if you put some of these teams need to put that aggressiveness towards playing defense on the other team. Stopping the other team. And I think that's what Kyle Anderson was saying to Rudy Gobert. I think that's what made Rudy Gobert so mad. Like, hey man, you got to D up. But yeah, I agree with you. Chicago's done, and I also well, I'm gonna take a minute to say, another shout out to the Nerd Focus, the Nerd Focus energy drink. Check that out, y'all. Give your brain a boost with the Nerd Focus. And a shout out to Fam Brand. Check that out at fam.brand Instagram. You can see it scrolling across the screen. Fancy lips. You can see it scrolling across the screen. Uh, you know, yeah, I mean, Cat was hurt most of the season, but at the same time, Rudy Gobert, I didn't think it was a good move. I was against it when it first happened. I didn't like it. I didn't move when it first happened. Yeah, he told him to block something. That's what he should have did. He should have blocked something. Like he should have went out there and took his aggression out. Oh, this is what you want me to do. Yeah, I mean, you mad at the guy, but they said the guy called him out his name. I mean, I totally like. I'm not defending Kyle Anderson one way or but Rudy Gobert, man, like they brought you like supposed to be a piece of James suspended. We have an impact Friday night when they play, but I'm really digging what I'm looking at beyond basketball. Got to see some meaningful fighting real quick. Shakur Stevenson, champ, man. Moving up in weight class, doing his thing. Yeah, shout out Fancy Lips and Fam Gear. I always give my shouts. Um, but does that mean that we have a chance at some meaningful boxing coming up on down the stretch? I mean, I don't know. I got to see Shakur. Like I ain't gonna lie, like boxing been one of those things, a hit and miss thing, but just seeing how ready he was and how sharp he was for that fight, you finally get to see somebody that was, like really, really, really ready, and it seemed like he can do some things like moving up in weight classes. Like if he come up, maybe he could get some monumental matches up under his belt. I think he's 20-0 right now. Not a bad start. Are we gonna see another undefeated fighter? Yeah, nice Garcia and Tank. That should be a good fight. That should be a good. Well, I think Tank gonna knock him out, but at the same time, it should be a good fight for about 4 rounds. I'm going 4 rounds in that one. I'm taking 4 rounds in that one. Yeah, Shakur needs. That's what I was saying. Like 20-0. It might be time. Like coming up in weight classes and stuff. It might be time to get in there. And who came with it? To me, is like does now my question would be like you got all these other little subsidiaries of boxing and stuff like that, in the professional boxing and stuff. Should they think about pulling a WWE type UFC type thing and merge and be owned by one entity and bring back Don King? That's what I want to say about boxing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to say. Yeah, time to mix it up. Yeah, uh, but bring back Don. See, people hated on Don King, but what Don King did do to you is he did give you some of the best boxing matches that you would ever see. He gave you some of the best bouts you would ever see. Like, and you really been craving that. Like, he brought you some of the great matches. Some of the great matches of all time. Like, I mean, I wish like, who gonna be the next Don King to bring that back, man? When you get some good fight, they're like, yo, let's see the undercard from the undercard. What I'm saying, to the top dogs. Let's see some real good fighting on the cards and see. Like, you might have to challenge. You know, you might have to step outside the box to get a good match, or like. But for me, Stevenson, his weight class, we know the lightweights and stuff is not that many good ones. So like, go up one more class and you might find some of those good premier matches. But I don't know. Sometimes you put on weight. Boxers, the wrong boxer put on weight, and then that's it for their career. Like, it don't work out for all boxers the same, but I think that the young man got enough to go, and he can get in there. Hey, what 24, 25 years old or something, 26 maybe, 26 years old or so, 25, 26. He got a little ways to go, 20-0 already though. But I would like to see, like who knows? Is he gonna be the next Mayweather, go undefeated in his career? I mean, I don't know. That'd be impressive if he did in these modern eras where where you don't see too much of that. Like, Floyd was one of a kind to be able to do that. I'm not a Floyd Mayweather fan, by the way. I never was. I thought he was a joke in some of his fights. I think he ducked some of the best, and I've said it before, and I say that all the time. But at the same time, you can't take nothing away from Floyd. He fought the competition that was in front of him, and he beat them all. So is it one of those things with Stevenson? Is he going get opponents like this Garcia? Let's talk Garcia Davis. That thing right there, like, at least it's a better fight than some of the other fights that we've had to suffer through. But you get to see two fighters that have been proven to be, relatively decent, explosive, and now you get to see them go head to head. Maybe you get to see now you get things to get to. I'm running. Tiger Woods, man, it's Tiger done. I question as a Tiger Woods fan. Like, I love Tiger Woods. Like, like, he's what got me definitely interested in paying attention to golf. Well, I paid attention to golf before him, but really, really watching golf and to see, it's Tiger, man, it's Tiger done. I think he, like, how many events, how many times we gonna let him make it with that excuse? It seemed like every time, not to be funny, and I know the man dealing with a lot of injuries, so I don't want to make light of his injuries, but I do want to point this out. You notice the events that he enter, if he not in competition coming that last day or whatever, he always withdraws with some injury. It's like, how many times we gonna get at a pass, man? Like, how many times, us as fans, will we gonna say, hey, man, Tiger, hey, it might be time to do something else with your life, man. You made a lot of money off the golf, man. He, you already one of the best, but that's what I'm saying. You can't keep living with those excuses. Like, did he withdraw from the last tournament because of an injury? But it's always when he has no shot at competing in that last day that all of a sudden the injuries get the best of him. The nagging injuries. I'm not saying he wasn't injured. Not saying that. I'm just saying that it seemed like to me that when it come down to it, you know what I'm saying? The injury all of a sudden when you're not in competition. So day one, you fight through it. Day two, you fight through it. Day three, but then on day four, oh, I'm not in competition no more. So the injury, what I'm saying, it comes up. So it's like, hey, Tiger, like how many times we gonna keep letting that make it? Yes, it's very suspect in my mind. And just a little bit of NFL talk real quick because I feel like the Ravens, everybody hype about the Ravens getting OBJ. OBJ, man, you ain't even got Lamar Jackson in the building, but you got OBJ. Who gonna throw him the ball? Because it don't, unless Lamar Jackson decide to stick with you, like y'all still got this whole Lamar thing playing out or whatever. But I do like. I'm not gonna front. I do like that. I do like the move if Lamar Jackson was your quarterback, but I think they overpaid. Now I think they overpaid. Yeah, Tiger needs to go to the booth. But I think they overpaid. I think they overpaid. And I don't think Huntley, man, we seen what Huntley does, and we seen how the Ravens perform with Huntley. They don't perform all that well with Huntley. So I don't want, I don't see that as an option. They was looking at Baker Mayfield. So I don't know what the Ravens are going to do. Hopefully they get Lamar Jackson into, they get him to come back to the, they get him back on the roster and he stays or whatever, because I think him and OBJ, I think they can make history. I think they can have a historic season. It probably won't be Brady to Moss historic, but it could be close. It could be close. It could be up there with Brady and Moss, and I think that, with Lamar Jackson, the dynamic of a Lamar Jackson and the things that he can do, I think that with a weapon like OBJ, it can open it up for the rest of those guys. If Bateman can stay healthy and stuff like that, it'll open it up. And Andrews will get some free shots to be covered all the time, and having to force the ball in them. But yeah, $15 million for a year. I mean, that's a lot of money. I think they overpaid him. I'm gonna go on record. I think they overpaid for him, especially not having your quarterback situation straightened out. But were the Jets? So my question is, were the Jets gonna give him that? And with the incentives and stuff for 18, like I said, he must have to have that. He must really have to have that Randy Moss type, Brady Randy Moss type season in order to reach that 18. But I think it's a good move, but I think they overpaid. I think you could have waited and then came around and probably got him cheaper, because I think the Jets would have got him cheaper, to be honest. I think the Jets maybe 12, maybe in the 12, 13 range. And speaking of that, y'all see all the rumors that were swirling about Ezekiel Elliott. Y'all see he's still out there on the market. Y'all see what happened to going to Philly. If Philly gonna pay him $10 million, they crazy. I mean, you can't pay for some of these guys. Like, my thing with Odell is the same thing as a Zeke to me. Man, why would you overpay for these guys? Like Zeke, he just don't get himself in shape even when he is healthy, just to be a factor. I mean, you gonna pay the guy $10 million to be a short yardage guy. And then let me tell you this: the rumor I'm hearing about the Cowboys possibly pursuing Derrick Henry. We just had a short yardage guy. Come on, short in enough difficulties. Yeah, but we just had a short yardage. Um, we like they talking about Derrick Henry. Like we saw what we did with Zeke. Like like that didn't really work out for. We could have kept Zeke if we were going to do that. So come with the projection of projections. My squad, not the Texans, say my hometown team. I'm hearing projections of them going with unless Lamar, Yeah, but Lamar wanted that kind of receiver. Yeah, everybody wanted that for him, Trey. But at the same time, he got it now. But my Houston Texans, that's my hometown, Houston, Texas. I'm not a Houston Texans fan, by the way. I'm always Cowboys. But here it is right here. The Houston Texans, the rumors that swirling that they might not take a quarterback. Is that a shock? I think I said that a few weeks ago that we know how they do. They might not take a quarterback. They might trade the pick because in the past they've taken, the Javion Clownies and, they took Watson, but they didn't take him high and, like real high. So, I'm not surprised if the Texans take somebody else, if they went with a Jalen Carter or, if they kept the second pick and they went with a Jalen Carter. So I'm not surprised with how the Texans move. That's not a surprise to me. It hasn't worked out to win in the Super Bowl, but in the past they have been somewhat competitive. Remember, like they picked JJ Watt. Like sometimes the defensive moves are a smart move, but I'm saying this year and this year alone, I'm gonna say that as a diehard fan, they need to take a quarterback. You need to get you a franchise quarterback. Every other team is trying to buy into the teams that don't have a franchise quarterback trying to get a franchise quarterback. So you might want to try to get a quarterback. You can't these days and times. I just think that you got to lock a quarterback in, and the reason why is because free agency, everything else around is shuffling. You might as well lock a quarterback in that could at least lead and hold the ship together. So I think, and plus you get a quarterback on the cheap. You get a rookie. Like you bring in a veteran right now, you might have to pay him. Or maybe they going with Davis Mills again. I don't know. All I'm saying is that it's not a surprise if the Houston Texans don't take a quarterback. Like, they've been known to do it. Now they saying, like for one while they were saying, oh, it's going to be C.J. Stroud going first. Now it's back to Bryce Young. I always figured Bryce Young would go first in the draft, so I'm sticking with Bryce Young. And like I said last week, the most impactful players won't be on the offensive end anyway. It's going to be Joey Porter Jr. and it's going to be Jalen Carter and it's going to be Will Anderson. Those are my tops. I think on the defensive side of the ball, they gonna come right in, and those guys gonna wreck shop, and they gonna make a difference on the. Those young men, they gonna bring it on whatever teams they get on to. They gonna come. They gonna come to play. They gonna come ready. I think. Defense is easy. I'm not gonna say it's easier to acclimate to a defense than it is on the offensive end, but it seemed like these teams nowadays they try to be too sophisticated with the offensive schemes to try to limit the defense. You've seen it in games where the play calling even like the play calls seem to confuse the offensive linemen. They don't know who to block at times and this, that, whatever. The schemes get so elaborate and complicated because the defenses are so fast. And that's why I say on the defensive side of the ball, those guys are going to have a better impact. I mean, you just come in and you got to go hit something. If nothing else, unless it's you blown coverage, most of the things see the ball, hit ball. So those are the big keys right there to me is that defense. I think the teams that get those guys, Carter, Porter Jr. and Anderson, I think those three they're gonna make a big difference on teams. And right before I get out of here, I've talked the NBA, I've talked a lot of different things, and but I want to finish this show with thinking about talking about the NCAA real quick. As far as like I've made a lot of noise, I've talked a lot about the transfer, the NBA draft was just, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Outside of Aaliyah Boston, I was kind of lost at some of the players that was drafted. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I was like, where does she come from? I mean, I gotta pay more attention to, other than just evidently in the NCAA tournament, because some of those players I was just so confused. I was like, come from? I mean, no disrespect, you know. Congratulations to them all, but I can't really say that I knew a lot of those names. I was like, man, I got to go do my homework and really understand what's going on because, like I said, outside of Aaliyah Boston going first, I was lost. I could be the only one that was lost. Like I said, I got to do more homework and more understanding of the women's NCAA game because some of the big names I guess they decided to stay in college or they still got eligibility in college and they will win on those levels. It's not more like the men's game, like where some of these. And then for the NBA draft, I'm looking at some of these guys like, man, you might want to stay an extra year in college. Like some that are staying, I thought would come out, and then some It's like, hey, why is that guy coming out already? You averaged 9 points in college, bro. What are you gonna do in the pros? You ready for the league? And I don't understand the league either. Like, why would you even take a guy that averaged 9 points? I mean, what is he gonna do for your squad other than go to your G League and probably ball there? Which gotta give credit to the G leagues and stuff like that for the players that make those rosters and that finally get that shot. But who knows what we're gonna see coming up in the draft? But again, the women's draft, I was confused. Didn't hardly recognize any of the names. But that's my time. Thanks to Sports for America for putting me on. Again, a shout out to Fancy Lips Cosmetics, a shout out to Fan Brand, Nerd Focus Energy Drink, and myself, Snook One Productions. Big things coming soon. Again, I'm bringing y'all this show live from Dallas. The home of the Cowboys. So y'all have a good Wednesday out there.